So everyone, we're going to look at the kite runner today, right? So please head to that particular page. Okay. Now, does the title The Kite Runner sound familiar to any of you? Why did I ask? Because this passage is a book, an excerpt from a book. But not only that, it has been adapted into a movie. So that's why I ask if it sounds familiar. Does it sound familiar to anyone? The Kite Runner? No? All right. So it's okay if it's not familiar, right? But later on, I'm going to show you a snippet out of the movie, right? Particularly this scene that we'll be reading about. Yeah? And to give you a bit of a background knowledge on the extract, I'm just going to show you the cover page. So maybe if you see the cover page, you'll go like, oh yeah, I've seen it in a bookstore before or in the library. And it has been adapted to different languages as well. Yeah? An interesting book, interesting setting. Yeah, it's set in America and Afghanistan. Yeah? So this is the cover page. Can you guys see it? Yeah? All right. So there it is. That's the cover page, the Kite Runner. Yeah, and if you notice, the cover page has one of them has a picture of two boys, right? They seem to be embracing each other, yeah, close to each other. So, what do you think the story is about? Just by looking at the cover, just a word or two about what you think the story is about. Kite fighting. If you see the two boys being close to each other, maybe they like to kite. Since we're talking about the topic of fun, right? Maybe it's about the theme of friendship. Maybe they're siblings. We're not sure yet, but let's take a look and read the story, okay? For class, when we go to comprehension, normally I will read out the first paragraph, right? And then I will go through some words together with you, the vocabulary, and that's where you can write out the meaning as well, okay? And then, of course, you guys will take turns to read it for me as well, okay? All right, let's look at the first paragraph. I was a pathetic, blundering burden to my football team, always unwittingly obstructing the other team members. I stumbled about the field on scrawny legs and cried for passes that never came my way. When it became abundantly clear that I had not inherited a shred of my father's athletic talents, he settled for trying to turn me into a passionate spectator. I faked interest for as long as I could, but my father sensed my lack of genuine interest and sighed. Amir, you're never going to love playing or watching football. So the first paragraph, who are we introduced to? And what do we know about the main character? That he's not athletic, right? We learn about the narrator's lack of skill and talent, right? Very good. So the narrator's lack of skill. Yeah? Particularly in what? Particularly in football. Yeah? So that's a summary for the first paragraph. Yeah, because when we talk about fun and games, Mohit, not everyone has the same interests, right? When I asked guys what were your what activities do you enjoy, not everybody had the same sport. So you see, not everyone can be a football guy, right? So the word pathetic, okay, pathetic here means showing no skill. Okay. And the word blundering means he is often very clumsy, will not be able to will fall down easily. All right. So pathetic means not having enough skill. Okay. And when you are blundering, it's always when you commit mistakes. Okay. So we assume that this narrator often makes mistakes. Yeah. Maybe he will pass it to someone else, scores their own goal. Yeah. All right. And always unwittingly. Unwittingly means he does not do it on purpose when he blocks the other team members. All right. So it's not something that he does intentionally. Yeah. So without intending to do something. And obstructing means he does not intend to block the other team members. Okay. Block. I stumble about. Stumble means he would fall, right? He would not be very well balanced, right? So he often falls, right? And his legs are scrawny. It's very thin. Yeah. Okay, he's not fit. We know that. And when it became abundantly clear means when it became very clear to his father, right, that he was not like him. Yeah. This phrase here, I had not inherited a shred of my father's athletic talents. This phrase here means that he was not like his father. So we can assume that his father was a very good football player. Yeah. The narrator is not like the father. Okay. So the father realizes this and he said, oh, okay, I'll just make my son watch. A spectator is one who watches, right? And all this time, the narrator would fake interest. He would pretend that he liked the sport. Okay? But of course, a father being a father, he knew that his son was just pretending. Now, you can't lie to your parents, can you? Right? So I fake interest, pretended. Okay? Because his father sensed my lack of genuine interest, which means he knew that the narrator was faking. Yeah? That I was faking. All right. So far, all of you understand the first paragraph. So we know more about the narrator, plus also what his father realizes about his son. Okay. Let's have paragraph 2. Can I have? Let's hear from a new student. Yeah, let's hear the voices. Can I have Aris? Aris, can you read paragraph 2, please?
Every winter, our neighborhood held a kite flying tournament. During the contest, participants tried to cut the strings of all their opponents' kites. The winner was the child whose kite was the last one flying. What made my experience at kite flying so memorable was that I used to build my own kite from bamboo, glue, and paper. We would go out into the yard and feed up to 500 feet of string through a mixture of ground glass and glue to make the glass-coated cutting line. By the time the snow melted, every boy bore telltale horizontal gashes on his fingers from a whole winter of fighting kites.
Thank you. All right. Yeah, good to hear someone else's voice. All right. So here we go. Second paragraph. Well, how would we summarize it? It seems that the narrator is telling us about the kite fighting spirit in the neighborhood, right? What they would often do, how they would build their kites. Yeah. So a bit of a background about the neighborhood's kite fighting spirit. Okay, it seems to be something very popular there. And I want to take a look at this phrase there. I used to build my own kite from bamboo, glue, and paper. And they would have a mixture of ground glass. What does it tell us about the narrator? What can be from these lines, what can we infer about the narrator's characteristic? What kind of person is he if he's able to build his own kite from bamboo, glue, and paper? Creative, isn't it? And here, every boy bore telltale signs. Yeah, telltale, this word here. Likes kites, yes, but it's not enough to just like kites. If you don't have the creativity, then maybe you will not be able to make it, right? So he's a kite liker plus also creative person. So it says that every boy bore telltale signs, telltale horizontal gashes. What does it mean? It means that, right, when by the time winter is done, when the winter season is finished, right, they realize that the boys, yeah, their fingers would have marks, would have like wounds or gashes on them. Yeah. And it's because of the thought. Yeah, because when they try to fly the kites with the string can cut their palms and their fingers. So it's not an easy sport. No, it is not easy. And they have proved, the boys have proved that it was a hard it was a very hard activity, very tough activity, because they would have gashes, cuts on their fingers, yeah? Cuts from the strings, okay? So the gashes, cuts. Have you guys had paper cut before? I'm sure you guys have paper cut. Not funny, right? I hate paper cuts. You know, it leaves you with a very it will be it's something you think it's not going to hurt, but just a little snap of it, and it truly hurts. Yeah, so exactly. Or
Yeah.
sometimes when you handle paper, right, and we just cut our fingers accidentally, right? So imagine the cuts that they have from a whole winter of fighting kites. Okay, a whole winter means about 3 to 4 months. That's a whole winter. Okay, so we can assume that's a few months, right? Not just one day, that's a few months. Okay. Any other words I want to go through here? I think the rest is pretty straightforward. Let's move on to the third paragraph. So this short paragraph, how would we summarize it? It is mainly on the narrator's what. Sometimes when we want to find out the main focus, right? We look at the words like an opportunity, maybe my life, perhaps I let myself dream. He's not, yes, his goal, he wants more attention, is more of his thoughts, right? He wants to impress his father. All these are his hopes, isn't it? The narrator's hopes, because he has not been impressing his father so far. Good, okay. So I will correlate, you put it together. So his hopes, the narrator's hopes, as he wanted to impress his father. Yeah. Why do you think he compared himself to a ghost? It's a metaphor. My life as a ghost. Why do you think he compares himself to a ghost? He feels what? He feels what? What's that word I'm looking for? He feels ignored. Yes, good. He feels as if he's forgotten, ignored, neglected, invisible, right? Yeah, he feels invisible. Good. And so he has this aim for himself, right? Possibly also because remember in the very beginning, Kessler, we realized that he wasn't so good at football, yeah? And so he wasn't like his father. So maybe he feels useless, yeah? And he was preparing for the grand spectacle. The spectacle here is not your spectacles that I'm wearing here, but more of a show. He was preparing for the grand show. Okay? Which is basically the kite flying tournament. All right, let's move on to paragraph 4. Can I have Roshni, can you read paragraph 4, please?
I had never seen so many people on our street. Kids were flinging snowballs, squabbling, chasing one another, giggling. Already rooftops were jammed with spectators reclining in lawn chairs, cradling flags with hot tea steaming up their faces. My father was there as well, watching me in anticipation.
Right, very good. So, do you guys realize something? That this paragraph, right, contains a lot of a particular set of words. Words like flinging, squabbling, chasing. What kind of words are these? Flinging, squabbling, chasing, giggling. What do they have in common? These are all what kind of words? It's actions. They're verbs, right? They all are verbs in the ing form. Reclining, cradling. So there is a purpose why the writer is using all of these verbs, yeah, with the ing form, is to show that the actions, the movements are continuing. It's full of action, yeah? That the surrounding is full of action, yeah? The narrator's surrounding is full of action. Are full of action. So there's always a purpose why a writer uses certain words, okay? So if they keep using verbs in the ing form, it's just to show they're continuing action. Everybody is busy, yeah? And the word cradling flask. not cradle your baby, but when you cradle your flask means you're holding to it carefully. Yeah? Because of course it contains hot tea, right? So they need to hold on to it carefully. To hold something carefully. All right? So what can you assume about the children there? Just by reading the verbs, what can you conclude about the kids? If they are flinging snowballs, they're squabbling and chasing one another, what do you think they're feeling? It's very excited, isn't it? Yeah, it seems they're very excited for this tournament, right? Good. Let's now move on. Oh yeah, just before I move on, anticipation. Sure, Zayden, why not? Yeah. Anticipation is when you feel impatient for something, you're expecting something, right? Impatient and expecting. Why do you think the father is looking in anticipation? Why do you think the father is watching him in anticipation? What is he expecting? All right, he expected his son to win, right? That's why he's anticipating it. Good. Very good. Zayden, I promised you, so can you read the next paragraph, please?
I took a deep breath, exhaled, and pulled on the string. Within a minute, it was rocketing into the sky, making a sound like a bird flapping its wings. Soon, the cutting started, and the first of the defeated kites were out of control and fell from the sky like a shooting star. I sliced a bright yellow kite, the string also cutting a gash on my finger. By late afternoon, we were down to 6 kites, and mine was still flying. With each defeated kite, I hope grew in my heart. Then there was just me and the owner of a blue kite left. People were stamping their feet, clapping, whistling, and chanting. All I saw was the blue kite. All I smelled was victory. Then came a gust of wind, and it enabled me to look my kite on top of the blue one and loosen my grip on the string. It sliced my finger again as the wind dragged it. The blue kite was spinning wildly like a tire coming loose from a speeding car.
Right, thank you. All right. So in this particular paragraph, right, we read all the actions that's going on, right? Actions involved in the kite fighting competition, right? The real actions, right? So to make it more clear and vivid for us, the writer has used a couple of techniques, especially similes. I see a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of similes in this paragraph. If you're wondering, similes are comparisons using like or as, right? Similes. Comparisons using like or as. A simple one would be as fierce as a tiger, right? So the idea of using similes for writers is so that the readers can imagine and visualize the scene in their mind, right? So one of them is making a sound like a bird flapping its wings. Thank you, one, right? Then fell from the sky like a shooting star. Then, not only that, like spinning wildly like a tire coming loose from a speeding car. Okay? Did I miss any? No, right? So you see, the idea of these similes is to enable you to imagine, oh, the bird, like bird flapping its wings, right? You can imagine the sound, right? The robot rocketing is more of a metaphor to show how it's very fast, yeah? Its speed, yeah, to show its speed. Right? And here, hope grew in my heart. So this hope is given a personification as well. And all I smelled was victory. Can the narrator literally smell the victory? What does it mean? If you can smell victory, it means, yes, it is a literary technique that he is close to victory. If you can smell it, you are close to it. Excellent. Yeah, close to winning, basically. So there we go. So, and we can imagine the blue kite spinning wildly, right? And the word whirl, there's something whirls, right? It goes round and round. Yeah, it goes round and round. So the rest of the kites. So I want you to imagine this scene, because later I'm going to show you a clip which shows this scene. And I want you to compare if whatever you're imagining now or previously when your classmate was reading it, if it's similar to the scene later. Okay, I'm going to show you the scene later. Okay? All right. Are there any words that I would like to go through? No, I think the rest is fine. Yeah? So this particular paragraph would be all about the narrator's attempt, right? The narrator's attempt. Very good. To fly his kite in the tournament with the hope of winning. Yeah? All right. Let's move on to the next page. Everybody, please go to page 14. We're going on to the last paragraph. Can I have... Pengsim, can you read, please? Last paragraph. Thank you. All right. So the word hollering there means father is shouting, yeah? Woo, my son, my son. Right, we can imagine that. Okay, so he was shouting excitedly. All right, and so we can imagine the narrator's triumph, right? How he feels proud of himself and also the fact that his father will be proud of himself, yeah? So the narrator's pride and triumph would be our last summary for this last paragraph. Before we look at the questions, but I did promise to show you the snippet of the movie. All right. So before we look at the questions, I'm going to show you the video of the scene. And I want you to check. Do you feel that whatever that you witnessed, that you imagined earlier in your mind, is the same as this particular scene? For a moment. Manage it? Okay, I'm going to continue, yeah? What do you realize about, what do you notice about the game? What do you notice? What does the narrator have to do? In order for him to win, what does he have to do? Which simile do you notice? Which simile was used in the book? It's flying quickly up in the air. So it would be the rocketing word, right? The kite was rocketing, yeah? Okay, so we're going to pause here and then we're going to go back. Now, let's go back to the worksheet and we're going to look at the questions. All right, the first one. Pick out one word from paragraph 1 that tells us Amir had not been deliberately trying to hinder his football team members. So the word deliberately has been telling you because deliberate here means purposely. Yeah, purposely. But we want to find a word that tells us that he was not doing it on purpose. He was not trying to purposely hinder. Now, the hinder here means to block. So for you to find the correct word, right, we have to understand synonyms because there are synonyms being used in the text. There is a synonym of the word block and the synonym of deliberately in the text. Yeah. So everyone, let's go back to paragraph 1. And let's find one word that tells us that he was not doing it on purpose. The word is not deliberately, not doing it on purpose. Because desperately is highlighted, which means we must also find an adverb, a word that also ends with "ly." It also ends with "ly." Obstructing, not because obstructing it means hindering, but you want a word that shows that he was not doing it on purpose, that he was not obstructing on purpose. Yeah. So if you look back at paragraph 1, I highlighted the word unwittingly, and it means without intending to do something, which means that you are doing something not on purpose. Correct? And so, unwittingly is also an adverb. So the word that we're looking for here is unwittingly. Well done. The rest who found it. Let's go on to question 2. Why do you think Amir had to fake interest in football? Now, this is a 2-mark question. Yeah. And it has the phrase, why do you think? So for why do you think, right? Part of the answer might come from your logical reasoning, which means the answer is not from the text. Okay, but you have to think logically. Why do you think he had to pretend to like football? And since it's a 2-mark question, right, we have to make sure we have 2 different points. Okay, one of the points come from the passage, right? And the other one comes from more explanation. Okay, that's how you will get the 2 marks. And they must be varied points. Yeah, different points. Okay, so everybody go back to paragraph 1. Okay, and tell me, why do you think he had to pretend? If he pretended, that means what did he lack? And pretending, what did he want to achieve? Yeah, that will give the 2 marks. Not about that he wanted attention from his parents, from his father, but he did not want to what his father. Okay, let's go back to the text, everyone, yeah? To make it more clearer, let's go back to text here. See. He faked interest, right? He faked interest for as long as I could. But my father sensed my lack of genuine interest. So, he had to fake because he really was not interested. He lacked genuine interest in football. Okay? But he does not want to disappoint his father, or he does not want to upset his father. Good. Okay? So 1 mark comes from here, from the text. But the other one requires our own logical reasoning. If he pretended, what was it for? Okay, because he did not want to disappoint his father. Yeah. So number 2, he lacked genuine interest. in football, but he did not. So for this, you get 1 mark. And the other mark comes from what did he not want his father to feel, and he did not want to disappoint his father. This will be the second mark. Okay, so if you only gave me he didn't want to accept his father, you only get 1 mark, right? Normally, people will have to fake if you don't have interest in something, right? If you're not really passionate about it. All right, 3A is a more direct question. But usually for direct questions, you get 1 mark. Yeah, direct means it's literally from the text. But here you have 2 marks. Why? Because there's more than one material used, materials. So you must make sure that you include all of the materials to get the 2 marks. Yeah, must include all the materials. Okay? So everyone please go back to the text. Yeah? We're going to find the materials Amir needed to make his own kite. Yeah? Let's go to the passage. I'm going to give you a clue, everybody. You need 6 materials. Yeah, 6. A lot of you are giving me just 3. I'm going to give you a clue. 6 materials needed. The 3 is obvious, but the 3 ones are obvious, but there are still others. Think about what he does later after he has bamboo, glue, and paper. A lot of you are giving me just this one. Bamboo, glue, paper. Oops. Gashes. The gashes are the cuts. That's not a material. Do we need the snow? Do we need the snow? Not the snow though. Okay, some of you are getting it. So here you see, there's bamboo. I built my own kite with bamboo, glue, and paper. That's only 3, right? I told you there are 6 materials. And if you look again, he says, we won't go out into the yard and feed up to 500 feet of string. That means he also needs the string and mixture of ground glass. So he also needs ground glass. The glue was already mentioned, right? I did tell you 6 materials. Okay? Ground glass and glue. A mixture of ground glass and glue. Yeah? So the glue, the other glue is considered part of the next point. Okay? A mixture of ground glass and glue. So this will earn you 1 mark. This mixture. And the other mark comes from the bamboo, glue, and paper. Okay? And also the string comes with this 1 mark. All right? So altogether, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah? So let's go back to the question. So for this, you have to be very careful to have all the materials. So Amir needed. So Amir needed glue, paper, string. Bamboo and a mixture of ground glass and glue. If you miss out the second glue, it's wrong. You know why? Because the mixture consists of these 2 materials. Yeah? So it's actually not repeating the word glue, but because it's a different mixture altogether. Yeah? And a mixture, sorry. Misspell, so it's an N, yeah? Thank you. There we go. Number B, letter B. What evidence proved that the boys had spent the entire winter fighting kites? So we must find the proof. that they spend the whole time, the whole months, right, the whole 3 to 4 months fighting the kites. Okay? This is direct. We can find the evidence straight from the passage. So everybody go back to the passage. Okay, and tell me, what are the signs? What particular sign, what proof tells us that the boys spend a lot of time fighting kites? Yeah, if you just tell me whole winter, no. You must give me the proof. Yeah, what was the proof that they spend the whole 3 to 4 months fighting? Yeah, it's the gashes, the cuts on their fingers. Yeah, when the people see the gashes, they go like, oh yes, you did spend the whole time kite fighting. Okay, so by the end of winter, every boy. So it comes from this sentence here. Yeah. By the end of winter. Very important to write by the end of winter. Why? Because it tells us that they spend the entire time of winter. All right. So by the end of the winter, the boys had horizontal gashes on his fingers. Yeah. For every boy bore telltale signs, yeah, or bore telltale horizontal gashes on their fingers from a whole winter of fighting kites. On his fingers from a whole winter of fighting kites. Okay? All right, number 4. Which one in paragraph 2 has the same meaning as revealing? Okay, so of course, when we want to find the word, we must understand what is revealing, right? Revealing means it gives out the information, correct? It tells us, isn't it? It gives us information. So let's look for the word in paragraph 2. That tells us that it reveals something. It gives us information about something. Everyone go to paragraph 2. Just a word. They didn't very close though. If I say bore, the bore here means that they have it. But which one gives us more information, that it reveals something? It reveals the gashes. So gashes is not. Horizontal just tells me the way the lines are. When there is a hyphen in the word, like telltale, it actually tells us that it's one word, okay? So be careful to write a hyphen, because students who do not write hyphen, they will not get the mark, although they write the same word. Because if you don't put in a hyphen, it's considered 2 words. All right? Correct, Kessler. When you combine the 2 words using a hyphen, it's considered 1 word. Okay? But you have to include the hyphen. Okay? So if I call something a telltale, it means it tells me something. It reveals something to me that was hidden at first. Okay? Question 5. So what was a falling kite compared to in paragraph 5? I think we did mention this when we're discussing the story. We talked about similes, right? And here we're definitely looking for simile, because it says, what was a falling kite compared to? Yeah. So we want to look for the simile. But not only that, we have to explain why. Why is it compared? The reason for it being compared to simile. There is always the reason why writers compare certain things and certain characteristics to another, right? It's usually because they're similar in nature, right? So how are they similar? That's what you're trying to find out, okay? But the falling kite, yeah? The bird flapping overhead is more of the sound. Okay, but what was the falling kite compared to? Right? So let's go back to paragraph 5, everybody. All right. And what I want you to do is, first of all, go to paragraph 5 and look for the simile. The simile that the falling kite was compared to. Okay. So the keyword there is falling kite, right? The rocketing was the metaphor, but not the falling. That was when it was going, right? It was going upwards. But this one is the falling kite, yeah? Like a shooting star. Very good. That's the simile. Okay, how do we know? Because there's the word fell from the sky, which means it's referring to the falling kite. Okay? And now we're going to think, now that we have found the simile, all right, of the falling kite, why is it being compared to a shooting star? So we're going to ask ourselves, shooting stars, what are they known for? The keyword here is fall very fast or fall very quickly. Not only that, fall very quickly from where? From where exactly? From the sky. So we must be very specific, not just falling very quickly, but from which position. Okay? Then you will get the 2 full marks, the simile plus the explanation. Okay? And the explanation comes from your own background knowledge about shooting stars. Yeah? Else you wouldn't know how to phrase it. Yeah? So, it was compared, or the falling kite was compared to a shooting star because shooting stars would normally fall quickly, right? Because it was falling very quickly from the sky. Okay? And that is how you earn the 2 marks. 1 mark here and 1 mark there for the reason. All right, number 6 is quite a giveaway. You're supposed to order the events. Yeah, remember there's always a question on this, but always remember that it's not about how you see the events, not about the structure of the paragraph, but about the events, the sequence of events. Yeah, sequence of events. What happens first, what happens next, which helps you to understand the story. So for this one, I want everybody to write either 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1 like that on chat. Okay? So let's go back to the passage. Is this number 1? Well done, Elizabeth, too. Is this number 1? Or is this number 1? That's the one that was mostly confused by by a couple of you. All right. So let's go back to the passage. Okay. So his father tried to make him interested, you see? But then I faked interest for as long as I could. For as long as I could means he faked interest starting from the time his father tried to make him interested. So you see, the first one would be Amir's father trying to interest him. Okay. And then followed by Amir fake interests. And of course, we know that the last one is he then prepared himself. Because that's his true passion, right? Not football. Okay? So it's 1, 3, 2. All right. Now moving on to number 7. True and false questions. True and false questions, right? We always have to look at the keyword in the statement. Then we have to prove whether it's true or false and find the evidence. Amir's father did not pay much attention to Amir before the tournament. Where is the keyword in this statement here? Where is the key phrase? Yes, Roshni also got it, but did not pay. He did not pay much attention. And also, very good, Cass, we're going to take a look at the timing. Before the tournament. Yeah? Because if the word was after, it would change everything. So, we now know where to look for the answer. Anything before the tournament. So, let's go back and see, is it true or false that he did not pay attention? And where? How do we know that he did not, or if he did? So, everyone, we should be looking starting from only at 1 to 3. Because paragraph 4 onwards, it's already tournament and after. Yeah? So you should be looking at paragraphs 1 to 3. Now, I'm going to assist you. Everyone look at paragraph 3. So paragraph 3 is also before the tournament, right? He mentioned something about his father's treatment. Not the one about anticipation, Ivan, because anticipation is the one that's after, during the tournament. We went before the tournament. So everyone look at this paragraph here. There is a clue that tells us that his father did not pay attention to him because he said, maybe my life as a ghost in this house. You see? So that phrase there tells us that his life before in the house was like a ghost. And if he's like a ghost, meaning that he feels invisible. Maybe his father did not pay attention to him.
And no one
Which is
cares
why-
about him.
Sorry?
No one cares.
Yeah, no one cares. So sad. Right? Okay. Maybe it will all change after this tournament. So there it is. That's the proof. Yeah, it's true. And what is the proof? He felt. Amir felt like a ghost in his house before. Okay? Amir felt like a ghost in his house. And we already talked about what that metaphor mean, right? That one feels invisible and neglected, etc. Okay, next one. Amir was very focused on bringing down the final kite fighting opponent. Here, right, the keyword here is very focused, very focused. Okay, very focused on doing what exactly? On bringing the opponent's kite. Okay, was he focused? Like when we refer to our parents' house, we say our house, although technically our parents bought it. Yeah. Okay, so was he very focused on bringing down the final kite opponent, final kite fighting opponent? If you think that he wanted to win, it doesn't tell us that he's focused. If you're focused, what will you do? What are some actions that he showed that he was focused? Yeah. So find actions that showed how he was paying attention. All right, everyone else, go back to the text. We should go to the part where he was trying to bring down the final kite opponent. So definitely this last paragraph on page 13, right? Because we saw the actions that were going on. How does he show that he was very focused or not? Yes, if you're focused, you wouldn't be easily easily distracted, right? Your attention will only be one thing, right? Did he show that? Thank you, Rosemary. The rest? Which action of his showed that he was just paying attention to one thing? Which shows that you are focused. You know, when you're focusing on your studies, you would just be highlighting on how you study, you review your book, right? Okay. Not only that, to get additional, to be more specific, Roshni, I will add on what else he focused on. What was the only thing he saw? This is a clue for everyone else. What was the only thing he saw? And also, he focused on winning. Because if he focused on winning, it means that he's going to bring down. If we only say saw, we won't get the full mark because we also want to talk about how he wants to bring down. And bringing down means he focused on victory, right?
Yeah.
If you bring down your opponent, you're going to win. So you're focusing on victory, okay?
Yeah.
But be very careful, class. You cannot just copy the sentences like that. Don't just lift, but you got to paraphrase, okay? So everyone, I'll help you paraphrase those two lines. That's down the question. So this one is true. And why is it true? I'm going to use a different color. Sorry, this is too True. And why? Because he only saw, right? He was not distracted by anything. Amir was not distracted by anything. And only focused on the blue kite. Okay, and all he saw was the blue kite. And also we're gonna have to talk about the victory, yeah, that he not smelled, but he focused. We gotta change the smell to focus, okay? And he focused on victory. Okay, let's move on to the next statement. Amir's father did not express any emotion over Amir's victory. Where is the key phrase? Where is the key phrase in the last statement? Did not express any emotion, did not show any emotion. But when? When Amir won. Yeah? We also have to be very careful of where we see his feeling. Is it true that he did not show any emotion? Usually when you show emotion, you would be, like doing some actions like, clapping your hands or shouting, or maybe you'd be crying, right? Or you'd be hugging someone, right? So these are all different expressions of emotion. Did he show it or did he not? So we know the
False.
victory is, of course, the last paragraph, right? Yes, Kessler? Does everybody go to the last paragraph? This other show emotion? False. Very good. It's false. So we have to find the proof that he did show expression, that he did show emotion. So if we go back to the last paragraph, what did he do? So I would suggest that we write down all the expressions of emotion, from pumping both his fists, hollering, and clapping. Okay, that's the proof that he did show the emotion. Okay, well done. So let's put that proof in. So false, Amir's father was pumping both of his fists. Hollering and clapping. Yeah? That's it. Okay. So there we have our true and false statements. Exactly, Nashatra. Only I would add in more the other actions that he did. Yeah? Since we have the other actions as well, to be more specific. All right? All right, class, we will hear this page. Referral questions where we have to take a look at what it refers to. All right. This first, let me just zoom it in. The first word there, what does it refer to? So of course we know that we will talk about refer to. We have to be very careful whether we write out in singular form, plural form, right? If it's a there it refers to a place, right? It refers to a thing, etc., right? So let's go back to line 22. When we look at refer questions, we want to make sure that we look at the sentence before. So everyone, you can see line 22 right there. The word there is here, right?
The
My
street.
father was there as well.
The
Where?
street.
The what?
The street.
Ah, okay. The street. Everyone take a look and tell me. Would you agree with Kessler that it's the street is the
You
place
Be on my
there
side.
is referring to? I know that Kessler got it from here, right? The street. There. But let's read further because you don't want to go too far away. All right, just go look at the previous sentence. All right, it will be much closer that way. So I had never seen so many people on our street. Kids were playing snowballs. Already rooftops were jammed with spectators. So from the street, right, they go onto the rooftops. And the rooftops were jammed with spectators reclining in lawn chairs, creating flowers with hot tea, saving up their faces. So my father was there. Is it there referring to the street or the rooftops? Rooftop, yeah? And to be more specific, we're gonna use a preposition. Where exactly? We can say in, on, through, right? We have to be very specific. We have to say on a rooftop. Okay? So that's for the first there question. The there refers to on the rooftop. Now let's look at the it in line 31. All right, everybody, let's go on to line 31. The it in line 31, it's here. Then came a gust of wind, and it enabled me to loop my kite on top of the blue one and loosen my grip on the string. What does the it refer to? So always go back to the previous sentence or the previous phrase and clause. The gust of wind, right? So be very careful, right? Because the articles also matter. Yeah. If in the text they use a gust of wind, then also use the same article a. All right. So here we're going to write a gust of wind. Let's move back to the question to write down our answers. A gust of wind. Okay. If students only write wind, right, they will not get any mark. Yeah, because they're being very vague. Okay. Question 9. In the text below, an emotion is supported by a sentence from the passage. Fill in the appropriate word and sentence in the blanks below. The first one, the emotion is given, but you have to find the evidence that shows that he was anxious. Yeah. So you must know what anxious means. What is the synonym of anxious? Everybody can tell me, you can type it out. When you're anxious, worried, nervous, isn't it? Yes. Okay. So let's look for evidence, yeah, where Amir gives us clues that he feels this. He feels anxious, nervous, worried. Okay. So everyone, let's go back to the text. To find an action of his, yeah? Everyone go back to the text. Which part tells us that he was worried and anxious? Give you a clue. It comes from this paragraph here. Are there any actions that one will do if they are nervous? Do you see any clues that tell us, oh, he's anxious? This one, we must pick the exact evidence, yeah, the exact sentence.
Took a deep breath, exhale, and focus.
Yes, very good. That line over there, yeah? I'd like you to write out for the answer, okay? But it must be an exact quote because you're looking for the evidence. Yeah? The exact quote. Okay, evidence means exact quote. All right, that's the last one that we are going to work with. So we noticed that there was this evidence from the passage. People were stamping their feet, clapping, whistling, and chanting. So we have to find the emotion. If people are stamping their feet, clapping, and whistling, you know, it seems to be a typical actions of a spectator, right? The audience on sports day. How do you think they felt? Exactly. Yeah. So the best, of course, the best answer here, and I think most of you gave me that for your homework, excited is the correction for this emotion. All right. So please correct if you got that one wrong. Yeah. Now, number 10, we have that particular quote from line 37. Right there was the single greatest moment of my 12 years of life. Why did Amir feel this way? Yeah. Why was this the single greatest moment of his life? Right. So everyone, let's go back to line 37. When I was checking the answer, right, a couple of you wrote it was the single greatest moment of his life because he won the competition. But was it why it was a single greatest moment? Yes, Aris, I would also accept exhilarated. I'll accept it. Yeah. So here's the quote. I'm going to use a different color so you don't confuse it with my previous annotations. This is the quote. And we are supposed to find the reason why. And I won't accept it if your answer is it's because he won the competition. What was the actual reason why for him it was the single greatest moment? Not because he won the competition, okay? So if you gave me that, like I mentioned, you will not get you will not get any marks, yeah? Instead, it is the part where he actually felt because his father felt proud of him, yeah? He saw that his father felt proud of him at last, okay? So let's include that answer for us in page 16. He saw, or Amir saw, that he had made his father proud at last. I would just stop at the first sentence. Yeah, you don't have to tell me the even though part. Yeah? Because we just want to find the reason why for that single greatest moment, not about the complicated earlier. Yeah? All right, let's move on to question 11. Question 11 is a do you think question. Yeah, which means that it's up to your discretion, all right? And you have to use clues in the story, right, in the passage for the reason why you think it's popular and why it's not. Okay? So of course your own thought with suitable points to back up your thought. So if you say no, it's not popular, but then your reasons do not match your opinion, then of course you will not get the full 2 marks. Both of them have to support each other, all right? So let's take a look whether it is a popular spot in Amir's town. So in the town is full of the people, right? How do the people react to this particular spot? What could be some of the evidence we can use? Think about the word popular. Yeah? When something is popular, right? What kind of support will it get? Okay? Because if something is popular, right, it will be backed by popular demand, correct? If it's not popular, they won't have it again and again, yeah? If you told me that, hey, it's held every winter, which shows that it is backed by popular demand yearly, correct? Or you could also give me the proof that many people, yeah, I'm going to show you the paragraph here, right? This particular paragraph, line 19 to 20, okay? Of course, you do lift everything, right? But if you were to infer and say, oh, the street was crowded during the kite competition, the street was crowded with people, right? Then I'll also accept that point, okay? All right, good. And the fact that the rooftops were jammed with people watching, all right? So let's move on to the response. Yes, of course, it was a popular spot. And the reason being, when the kite competition was held, the rooftop was, did they say rooftop or rooftops? Rooftops. Okay, rooftops. So rooftops were jammed with people who were watching.
Can I don't put the when the kite competition was held?
What do you have? Just the rooftops were jammed with people?
I wrote rooftop was jammed with spectators, blah blah blah, cradling flask with hot tea. Yeah.
Technically the hot tea part you can leave it out. But if you just say that it's crowded, jammed with people, yes. But you can leave out the part where
that is a keyword.
the keyword here will be their rooftops were jammed with spectators. Do you have that part?
Yes.
Yes, then yes, I'll accept. If you have the rooftops were jammed with spectators, okay? Reclining in lawn chairs. But the tea part, you can leave it out. So we're watching in the streets. And many people will gather on the streets, yeah? All right, or the kite fighting tournament was held during winter, which showed that it always in demand. Okay? So that will be for number 11, everybody.